Okay, good evening, everybody. So, before I get started, any questions from anyone about Spring MVC to start with?
Yeah, I have one question.
Yes, Madhavi.
Yeah, in a hello controller, there is a written logical name, right?
Yep.
Um, what this hello world.
Hmm.
So you told us means we can use the other name also means red or something or
Right,
something.
right.
So I can't understand this one because this one is hello world. So we will make the JSP um,
Yep. So this
the same name.
is the logical view name. Okay. So
Hmm.
you have your. We want to separate these web controllers as much as possible with these views. Agree? We wanted to separate these web controllers as much as possible about knowing about these views. Did you understand that statement?
No.
Okay. So these web controllers should not have the direct path, something like /webinf /JSP /hello world .jsp is the point.
Yeah.
The reason being that these two are tightly coupled. If I change my JSP location to somewhere else, or if I change my view technology from JSP to something else, then your controllers need to be touched. I
Hmm.
want them to be completely separated. So what I'm saying is that this may be your real path to your view, which is a JSP page, but don't put that in your controller. Rather, put some logical name, some name, okay?
Hmm.
Prefix and suffix, right?
Expect one resolver, this just the prefix and suffix, but I'm talking even above that. I'm talking, this is more abstract concept. So I'm giving a, a logical view name. It is not a physical path to my view. I do not know about the view at all. I do not know the fact that it is JSP. I do not know the fact that it is stored in webinf JSP /webinf /JSP. And I do not know the fact that the real file name is hello world.jsp. I'm giving some logical view name. This view name, you give it to your dispatcher servlet, and dispatcher servlet will be able to resolve this logical view name into the physical view name, into the physical view path, the actual path, and then be able to forward it to that. And how do I get from this logical name to this /webinf /JSP /hello world.jsp? Well, that job is done by a component called resolver, view resolver to be specific, actually view resolver. Okay.
Hmm.
So the implementations of the view resolver is an interface actually. But one of the implementations that's already provided by Spring MVC is called internal resource view resolver. This internal resource view resolver takes two things. Give me your prefix of your views and give me your suffix of your view and give me your logical name. Your logical name will be given by this guy. So it will add prefix and then it will take your logical name and then it will add the suffix and it constructs the complete physical path of the JSP page. Dispatcher servlet will do it. But my point is that this is one of the view resolver implementations. The beauty is that view resolver is an interface. you can also implement in such a way that, hey, for this logical name, this is the path. For this logical name, this is the path. For this logical name, this is the path. You can provide the mapping also. For if it is red, hello world.jsp. If it's red, then /webinf/jsp/hello world.jsp. You can put a separate map also. This is one of the easiest implementations where your logical name is just your JSP name without the .jsp. And this is the case with 90% of the real world scenario. So if you have hello world.jsp, you want to forward to hello world, then using this prefix and suffix, your dispatcher servlet can construct, or sorry, this view resolver can construct the physical path of the JSP and give it to the.
Venkat, are you still talking?
Hello? Yeah. You guys can't hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
I can hear you. I can.
Okay, so only show one last.
Yes.
Okay, so this internal resource view resolver is going to construct based on your prefix, based on your suffix, and based on your logical view name. It's going to construct the fully qualified path of your JSP and then give it to the dispatcher servlet. And the dispatcher servlet is going to forward to the JSP. How? Using request dispatcher. But my point is that this view resolver is so extensible that you can do it in several ways. This is one of the ways, one of the easiest ways. Did you get the point now? When you put red here, how it can forward to the hello
Yes.
world.jsp? You got it?
Mhm.
So
Yes.
it is so extensible. Everything has been designed as an interface. View resolver is also an interface. So several implementations. One of them is internal resource view resolver. Okay? And later, when we talk about RESTful web
we got it
services, later when we talk about the RESTful web services, I'm going to talk about one of the view resolvers. It's called content negotiation view resolver. Based on the content type, how it can negotiate and understand which type it is and flush out the response in various ways. That's another beautiful view resolver. This is the most simplistic view resolver, but this is good enough for your JSPs. We all use it on a day-to-day basis. We all use it. I use it for my application where I'm working right now, the internal resource view resolver, and this is perfect. Okay?
Venkat? Hello, Venkat?
Shailaja, go ahead.
Yes, I have one question. So you said that can you open the controller?
Yes.
Actually, in this case, we have only one controller, right? That's what you have created, one bean. So if you have one more controller with that name, something hello, logical view name. So how it recognize that, whatever the JSP file that
you should not have. You don't want to have it. It's actually going to throw an error at the bootstrapping time saying that, hey, I found two resources matching the same URL.
No, I'm not saying that URL. I'm saying with a logical view name.
Okay, this is the view name. Oh,
yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood your question. So what Shailaja's question is that, let's say there is a checkout servlet, checkout controller.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what happens if checkout servlet also what happens if this one also sends a hello world, right? Like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Or anything else. Hello or something.
Right. This is not tied with any controller. So you can use the same hello world here. It is going to forward to the hello world.jsp. Because at that time, again, your internal resource view resolver is going to come into picture. It is going to take your prefix, it is going to take your logical name, and it is going to append your suffix, and it is going to construct the fully qualified path of your JSP page and give it to the dispatcher servlet. If you put here Sailaja like that, okay, it is going to look for, what does it look for? It's going to put /webinf JSP. So it takes your prefix and then it takes your logical name and it appends your JSP. So like this. So it's going to look for this particular file.
Okay, yeah, got it, Venkat.
You
And
got
one
it?
more thing.
Yes.
And one more
One
thing.
second, 1 second. Did everyone else get that? It's not only for her. Okay, I'm assuming yes. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, how can we create a dynamic URL with the request mapping?
How can I create the dynamic URL with the request mapping?
Yes, actually, we did it add to cart, right? At that time, we created with product ID like that.
Okay. Oh, okay. That's a good point. That's a good point. Actually, let me talk about that. Why not talk about that? I wanted to talk about something else, but I can start with that. I can start with that. Anyway, I need to talk about that at some point. So since you asked, let me talk about that. So point is, this is /hello, right? Everybody, probably let's start the server and then okay, hey, I'm from Spring MVC, etc. Right? So here, how can I construct the dynamic URL? At this point, all you know from the dynamic URL perspective, let's say you want to pass product ID when you're deleting a product. That's exactly what you're trying to do in case of your edit shopping cart or delete shopping cart, right? So how can I pass it? At this point, later on when I talk about the RESTful web services, I'm going to talk a different way of constructing a dynamic URL. But for now, all we know all we know at this point is this URL, right? And then if I want to pass something to this URL, how do I pass it? Anyone? I want to pass a product ID to this guy. How do I pass it? Or in this case, I'm saying hello, right? I want to pass, let's say I want to pass my name. How do I pass it? Anyone?
It is the expression language.
Expression language.
That means.
How do I pass any?
No, just the string.
Question mark.
What is that called? Yeah, what is that called? Someone is saying question mark. Who is that?
Query string. Yeah.
Madhavi? Yeah, what is that called?
Question mark.
Append question mark.
Query string. Exactly.
Query
That's the right word. Query string. How can you pass some extra piece of information through your URL?
Okay, so you're asking at browser side, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
So
After
/hello question mark name equal to
product
something,
ID or something,
right?
yeah.
Name equal to Sailaja and city equal to blah, right?
Yeah.
So what are these called, by the way? This whole thing is called query string, I agree, but these are called
Query parameters.
any better name for that?
Request parameters.
Exactly. Request parameters. These are called request parameters. So to refine your question, how do I pass request parameters? if I pass any request parameters, how do I get here? I'm just refined your question.
Yes.
Do you agree with my statement, Shailaja?
Yes. Yes.
Right? So this is how you need to be able to pass it. Earlier, so to further deepen her question, earlier in the old servlet days, we had that HTTP servlet request object given to us. Request.get parameter. Fancy. Absolutely, we get it. Request.get parameter. Give the name and you'll get the value. Key and value, key and value, key and value. So in this case, you keep saying that these are not servlets. Right? Then I need a HTTP servlet request. So how do I get it? Well, especially there you have the methods like a do get and do post, where the do get and do post methods will be called upon receiving the request from the browser. If it receives get method, it will call the do get method. If it receives post method, HTTP post method, it will call the do post method. Right? And it's giving the total HTTP servlet request object. Okay? So how do we get here? And moreover here, you also said that Spring is great, Spring MVC is great. You can use any method names. You don't have to use right? And first of all, this is not a servlet. But the beauty is that you just put it in your as your method arguments. You just say that, hey, I need HTTP servlet request. Oops. Okay, I need HTTP servlet request. Can you pass me? All you have to tell Spring is that you don't need to say anything. In fact, you just any of your methods in the controllers, you just put your HTTP servlet request as one of your method arguments. It will give you the whole HTTP servlet request object. Yes, it is that powerful. If you don't need it, the beauty is that if you don't need it, you don't need to put this guy. Now, I'm going to show you.
I got a quick question over here.
Yes.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, you were heading there. That's fine.
Request.get parameter. I read your mind, sure. Okay, look at it. Now, let's do it with an example, right? I know I'm printing in the server console. So question mark, name equal to shown, since he asked. See this? That's the power of Spring MVC. So it gives you, it will hand over to you the whole HTTP servlet request if you need it. Okay? But I keep saying that if you depend on HTTP servlet request, this method becomes less testable. Okay? I mean, you can mock this HTTP servlet request. You can do it. You can definitely test it. But you don't need to expect the whole big fat object of HTTP servlet request. If you need just the get parameter, you know how flexible Spring is? There is a annotation called at request param. Okay? And here you specify the param name. And whatever the request parameter that you are taking it, right? You pass me as the method argument. Whatever you have taken, look at it. I don't need to do this one, request.get parameter. All you are saying here is that, hey Spring, please take, there is a request parameter with the name, with the key name, right? Here, this guy. Here name equal to, right? So there is a request parameter with the name. So you pull it from request and pass me as an argument. Now this name is what you get passed. Yeah. How beautiful it is. This will be passed as method argument itself. Is everyone clear about it?
Yeah.
Do it one more time. Again, name equal to shown. Beautiful.
Okay. In this case, like request, can you also manipulate the response?
Yes.
Like send
If
the
you
response
need
also?
HTTP servlet response for some reason, absolutely. You just
Okay,
expect it.
that's right.
HTTP servlet response, your Spring is going to pass you. Yep, just response. Do whatever you need to do it. And Spring MVC is going to pass that to you. You got that? Okay, Uma, you are asking me to explain one more time?
Yeah.
Sure. So what I'm saying here is that these request parameters can be taken directly from your HTTP servlet request. So you just put in your method signature your HTTP servlet request. It doesn't matter whether it is a first argument, second argument, third argument, or 100th argument. You just expect anywhere that it is HTTP servlet request. And then your Spring MVC is going to give you that whole HTTP servlet request object. So all you need to do is that in an old-fashioned way you can do request.get parameter and let's say city. Okay. And then request.get parameter name. Right. So you can definitely get it this way. Now you pass here name equal to shown and city equal to Rochester. So your city equal to Rochester has been printed here. You can definitely get all these request parameters this way. Your HTTP servlet request will be passed to your web controller like how servlet controller has been passing that to a servlet. Remember those days? In any of your servlet, checkout servlet, shopping cart servlet, customer servlet, all of those servlets, we have a do get and do post. Do get and do post essentially has this HTTP servlet request. Those methods have to be do get and do post with those signatures, then only your servlet container will pass the whole request object. Right? So you can use it in this old-fashioned way. You can treat it like a servlet, and your Spring is going to give that to you. Okay? And my second point is that you can definitely do it this way, but you don't need to do that if you are just using one or two of them. What I'm saying is that your string name, string city. If somebody can pass me name and city as request parameters, right? Hey, if Spring can pass me a request parameter with the name, okay? Spring will do it with just this annotation at request param. Okay? And then you specify like that. So, hey, there is a request parameter with the key name. Can you take out, you do this one and you do this one for me and then pass me as an argument. Your Spring is going to pass you as an argument. Did you get that now? And now, same thing with city. It can do that. Okay. Look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now I got it.
You got it? See this?
Venkat, could you show one case of response also?
I can't. The reason is the response will be given to you, but after that you are flushing out without going through this one. The response makes sense if you are sending a stream back to the browser without going through this one. If you directly flush to the response, right? You're not going through this one, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I know. But in case one needs to respond rather than do this return, you would have to write what? At
absolutely
request, at response to response parameter.
No. You don't need anything. HTTP servlet response. That's it.
Oh, there's no annotation for that.
Nope. These annotations are request parameters only. Okay? And then request attributes also. There is one more, but if you want the whole response object, absolutely, you got it. Response.getWriter. You do whatever you want to do it in a traditional way.
Right. Okay. I had forgotten actually. That's why I wanted to see that. Okay, that's fine. That's okay. Enough. That's clear.
Okay, so that's about
one more thing.
Okay.
That is, see over here, this is there are two things now: do get and do post. So over here, there is no do get do post methods. So
okay, I'll
matter,
tell you. I want to add a small point there. Let me add a small point here. We don't have a do get and do post. We have not seen that so far, right?
JSP onwards, we have not been seeing because in JSP, I remember you showed us it goes to a different place.
1 second, Sean. Yes, I want to talk about good 5 minutes there. So in Spring MVC, so that's one of the core concepts that I did not talk in the last class. Now that's one of the things that we need to talk on the second day. So once the basic constructs are all set, now you have this at controller, you have this request mapping, right? By default, this method will be invoked on /hello of get. The default method is get for at request mapping, meaning if you invoke me with /hello with a HTTP get, your say hello method will be invoked. If you send me the same URL with the post, okay, you can write another method here that can respond to the post, meaning let's take it that way. How do I say that? Take input. Okay, I wanted to call this as take input method. Okay, so I'll say public string take input. Sorry, I have a method called take input. I want this guy, I want this method to be invoked for the same URL but for a different HTTP method, or it's a different URL. It can be /input. Okay, but I want this method to be invoked upon receiving HTTP post, not get. By default, it is HTTP get. By default, it is HTTP get. This is how you achieve that. In request mapping, you just say value equal to your URL and then comma. It takes the second one as a method, and there is an enum called request method. There is an enum called request method dot post. Look at it. There is a post, there is a get, there is a head, there is options, there is a patch, trace, all of that. So that's a post. Now, what I'm saying is that by default, the method is get. So by default, when you don't specify, this is what it is equivalent. So if you don't specify that it's HTTP GET, then by default it is GET. So you don't need to say this. All you need to do is just say request mapping, blah, like this. If you want to be explicit, you can definitely go for this method equal to whatever the URL that you want this method to be called on, and then value equal to your URL and method equal to your HTTP method. Now, if somebody calls /input with HTTP post, this take input method will be called, and then take the whole HTTP servlet request. Okay. Now, request dot get parameter. Let's say I'm sending the username and password. Okay, username and then password. And then let's say string username string password, right? So let's say all I'm doing is just printing. And then I'm returning to somebody, I'll say success. Okay. So which JSP page it will forward to? Everybody, which JSP page it forwards to? Success.jsp, right? Right?
Success.jsp.
Yeah.
Yeah, success, yeah.
So I'll just put something like your credentials are good or something like that. Okay. Now, okay, let me change from hello controller to a different controller called login controller. Okay. So I'll create a new class called login controller. Okay. It's very, very powerful techniques that we are following. So it's very important we all are on the same page. Look at it. So what I want to do is, if somebody goes to a URL called /login, okay, with HTTP post, I want to take their username and password and send them to success. But before post, I want to take them to a JSP page where they can enter their username and they can enter their password, right? So if I go to a browser and then say /login, is this a HTTP GET or a HTTP POST? If I go to the browser and just say /login,
Venkat, this is GET.
that is HTTP GET, right?
Dot get.
Yeah.
Yes.
So did we provide method to receive /login HTTP GET?
No.
We have not provided, right? So we have to provide, right? So public string, I'll say empty form. Okay, just give me the empty form, right? Just give me the empty form. I know I'm doing it reverse. I should have started with get, but that's fine. Again, the same URL /login. So if somebody goes with /login HTTP GET, this method will be called. If somebody goes to /login HTTP POST, this method will be called. Are we on the same page so far? Every one of you. Otherwise,
Yes.
I'll not Proceed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone in the class
Yes.
today. It's very
Yeah,
important.
yeah.
No, it's very important. So my point is to be explicit.
Twinkle.
To be 1 second. To be explicit, I'll put it this way: method equal to. But you don't need to put it. You don't need to put it. Okay. If somebody goes to /login with HTTP GET, this method will be called. If somebody goes to /login with HTTP post, this method will be called. Or I'll say this validate. Okay. So method names doesn't matter. Give me the empty form. Are we on the same page now? Now, when somebody goes to /login with HTTP GET, I want to give them a empty login form. So I'll just take them to, according to MVC, I'll take them to a login.jsp, right? This is a logical name. And where does it forward to? It forwards to /webinf/jsp/login.jsp. Are we on the same page so far? Antenna, you can ask your
Correct, yeah.
question now. Somebody was asking.
Yes. Yeah. I thought that in the MVC probably there is only one controller that every request is going to go through. But in this case, we are creating different controllers.
Can anyone answer Antenna's question? Great
Yeah.
question. Can anyone answer?
Probably this is the.
That is the dispatch.
No, the request, the dispatcher servlet is the one.
It's a web
The rest
controller,
are
right?
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Are you convinced, Antenna? Antenna, are you convinced?
Yes. I mean, it's
So
now I get
we're absolutely, you are right. We're talking about the front controller, but dispatcher servlet is the front controller, and that dispatcher servlet, which acts as a front controller, will dispatches to one of these web controllers. You can have thousands of web controllers, but
all right.
only
Now,
one.
I got
From the browser, it's always taken by the dispatcher servlet. It's never taken by these guys. You know that.
controllers.
You got
Web
it, right?
controllers. These are
Now,
yeah, thank you.
no problem. I'll add login.jsp. Thank you everyone for pitching in and explaining it to him. So login.jsp, and here I'll say, oops, I'll probably, rather than creating that way, I'll just probably use one of these templates. So I'll probably be better. Login.jsp. Form action equal to, can anyone tell me what the action is? Can anyone tell me what the action is, what the method is?
Yeah.
I'll put it whatever you put it, whatever you tell me.
The method will be over there. I mean, let's see the servlet. Whatever the servlet is, I mean, let's see the servlet.
The controller, the
Yes.
login controller.
Login controller.
Yeah. Put empty form. Forget it'll be empty form.
So this is what I'll put it.
That's what I'm thinking.
Anyone?
Exactly what we do for servlets. Let me see my old JSP.
No.
It should be /login, correct?
Exactly. For this URL, this method will be called. You never carry this method here. That's the separation, right?
Oh, we don't have a web.xml over here. So we have to really tie it up over here.
These are not servlets. We just talked about it, right? Dispatcher servlet is the only servlet we have for the entire application. We internally dispatches to one of them based on the URL that's passed. Based on the URL that it is requested for, your appropriate method will be called. Your method name can be anything. That's why I keep saying it's so flexible. That is the power of Spring MVC. Your method names can be anything. In your old servlet days, that has to be do post, and your do post will be called upon receiving HTTP post. But here it can be anything, and you just specify this guy. This is your URL. If this URL with HTTP GET, then this is what will be called. This is what will be called, and then we give it to login.jsp. But now, once I'm already here, so it is not this one that I should be looking for. Now I'm submitting the form. Once I submit the form, where do I go? I go to this guy, right? Are you getting it? Everybody?
Yeah. It's okay.
Yes.
When I call the /login HTTP
Yes,
GET to start with, it comes here and it will go to login.jsp. But once I say submit, that's when it goes to this guy here. Are you getting it? So your method is going to be post, and then your action is going to be slash your context name, whatever is the context name.
Yeah.
Looks like your context name is this guy. Your context name and then /login, right? Then look at it, /login /login with HTTP post. Which method will be called here? Validate or empty form?
It's a validate.
Exactly. Validate will be called, because this is the one that is matching this URL and this method combination. It has to match both the URL and the method combination. Understand that, okay? Okay, here input type equal to text, name equal to blah, name equal to, what am I expecting here? Username.
Username and password.
Right. And then password. I have to make sure that this one matches to what I'm expecting here. That's good. And then here I can give anything. Make sense? So
yeah. Venkat, if this may be a way of thinking, I was thinking that since we don't have the web.xml to tie it up, we would obviously require /login over here, right?
Sorry, I'm not. Say that again.
I'm saying that since we don't have the web.xml,
we do have the web.xml. First of all,
we do.
Absolutely. Is there any web application?
Dispatcher servlet.
Is there any web application that can live in Java world without having a web.xml? No. Out of all the billions of web applications out there that are written in Java, web.xml is the key.
There is a
but
dispatcher
the URL pattern, we put it in such a way that every single URL, even your /login, will be taken by your dispatcher servlet. Then dispatcher servlet will look at every single controller and check, hey, who is matching my /login with HTTP post? Oh, /login HTTP post. Yes, this is the method. Then Spring will call this one. If first time when you call it, who is matching /login with HTTP GET? This guy will be called. Are you clear now?
Yeah. Actually, I was looking at a wrong project. That's why.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No problem. That's it. Please enter your username and password. That's it. Let me save everything. I think I did. And then let me kick off the server. Now tell me, which URL should I go to start with?
Login page.
Tell me the URL.
Let's see the thing.
Spring one. This one, yeah.
Which URL?
Spring MVC 1 and then /
empty form.
Login.
That means /login.
Come on, don't tell me that again, Sean.
I mean that one.
Right?
/login, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now, when you go to /login, now I'm going to enter. I'm going to press enter here. The moment I press enter here, what is the HTTP method here?
Get.
Okay, what's the URL? /login, right?
/login.
So which method will be called? Huh? Empty form will be
Empty
called,
form.
right?
Empty form method.
Right?
Yes.
Empty form
Mm-hmm.
called. So forwarding to login page, whatever that one is, right? Agree?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
Now let's try to go to /login. Empty form call, so forwarding to login page. Did you get it now? Did everyone get that? We went here,
Yes.
Yes.
login page.
When
So because of this, it has been forwarded to login. Again, dispatcher servlet called the view resolver and asked, hey, this is my logical name. Can you give me the physical path? Then it constructed /webinf/jsp/login.jsp by taking the prefix and suffix and then forwarded to the login.jsp. And that is why you are here in this page. And now you enter. Rohit joined today, so let me give his name. Rohit, and then input type equal text. I should have put password here. Then it would have given me that stars. Okay, so submit query. Now what happened? Once I clicked on submit, what happened? Again, that was taken by,
It is going
because
post
/login
and then
post
going the success.
has been taken by dispatcher servlet, and again dispatcher servlet looked at every single controller's method and it looked for, hey, I have a /login HTTP post. Okay, this is the method I need to call it. It called this validate method and it provided me the complete HTTP servlet request, and I gave the request.get parameter of username and password, and I just printed it. And then finally, I asked my dispatcher servlet to forward to success logical page, which has been constructed by consulting with the view resolver that it's a /webinf/jsp/success.jsp. So, which is nothing but your credentials are good. That is why we are here. 100% clear?
Yes.
Any lingering doubts? Anything?
Yes. No.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good.
Venkat, one question I have though. It's slightly different from here. See, in the examples that you give us, you basically execute the post from a server resident, rather locally resident, Eclipse resident HTML, right? Like this one.
Okay.
But in actual fact, they will be coming from the browser side. There will be a HTML on the browser side with a post and action post and all those things, right?
I have to defer your question to someone else. Anyone? This is probably day one of
Day
your
one.
servlet question.
there is no any difference whether you code it from Eclipse or outside Eclipse, as long as you put the right URL in it.
Okay, yeah.
Look at
But
it.
what I'm
Look
saying
at
is different. I'm saying that it'll come from the
No,
server side, isn't it?
look at it. Look at it.
no.
I'm pressing
Make
enter
sure
here.
that you use
I'm
the
pressing
right
enter
URL.
here, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
I'm here sitting in somewhere in Michigan. Okay, maybe this Spring MVC 1_Feb 2015, this project, or this WAR file is deployed in Amazon Web Services somewhere in California. Okay,
Okay. Oh, okay.
I'm sitting here as a client. I'm the client now. I don't have the server.
Mhm.
I'm sitting here and I went to /login. It's been taken to this guy. Who produced this HTML? It's been produced by login.jsp. I agree with you, but this is a dynamic HTML. Login.jsp is nothing but a servlet. Servlet produces a dynamic HTML and given to the browser. This is the HTML. I got it from the server. Look at it. View page source. This is the HTML. I got it from the server. And now I'm the client guy. I'm not on the server side now. This is all client. Look at it. Agree?
Mm.
But who gave me this one? Server side code. the login.jsp gave me this HTML. This is a dynamic HTML. So now I'm submitting the form. Now I'm submitting the form from client. Now I'm submitting this whole form to the server, which is sitting somewhere in California, maybe. Right? That depends on what I have here in the action. That's it. It went all the way there and got another dynamic HTML.
Okay. Yeah, but what I'm saying is this, that you can also do it from any directory. Like you could, if you put it in any C drive directory,
Okay.
and open that with your browser,
Uh-huh.
it'll execute that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So here, this guy, you put it in your C drive and post it. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. But you don't want to do that, right? For all practical reasons. You can definitely, I mean, the big sites, they don't allow you to go like that, but definitely, you can definitely post. Probably if I buy this book, right? Okay. And then add to cart once I push it, I'm sure I can post it without having to go through the regular way. You know what I'm saying? I don't know whether I gave more information or confused you, but one of them. Everyone, very clear on that?
Yeah.
So far, whatever we talked? So that's how my main point here is that you can get the whole HTTP servlet request, or there is another way where you can get it. You can use a fancier way of getting request parameters like this. You will see this at request param, okay, of username, okay, and then string username, comma, at request param. You will see this kind of code. Did anyone see this kind of code in production in your day-to-day basis? Rohit, you have seen this?
Yeah, Venkat, I see.
Like that. So this is a fancy way of getting it, and there is even a slick way of getting it. You know, if your request parameter is same as your method argument name, you don't even have to provide this one. You can just say that like that. If your request parameter name is same as your method argument name, if it happens to be same, okay, if you're okay with that, then you don't even have to do anything. You just say at request param. It takes your argument name, and then behind the scenes, if you do request.get parameter of username and then request.get parameter of password, it can do that too. So it's just you know, one more fancy way. It's just making your life you know, it's just making your life easy. That's all. Okay, because when I use the same name for my argument name, there is no reason to pass this. Was you know, Spring developers point, and then they made your life easy. That's how. These are small utilities or small gadgets that they gave you. Okay, nothing to do with the main architectural concept, but it's a small things. They gave a lot of this. I believe there is something called request attribute also. There are a lot of them. Ooh, request mapping. You've seen the request parameter. Hey, see this one? Request header. Exactly, that's the one. Request header. You can take the request header, whatever the request header that you're looking for, you can use that one. Anyways, that's about both get and post. This is very important. All of this, Spring MVC is absolutely critical for your entire career. Not only to get job, but also after you get it. Spring MVC is being adopted quite a bit in the industry, so it's important. And also, especially when we talk about the RESTful web services later on, this is the exact same code. There is no difference, except that your view resolver is going to be a fancier view resolver called content negotiation view resolver. But other than that, your code is exactly going to be same. That's the beauty of Spring MVC. Especially they made it this fun. They made it this easy, starting with Spring 3. Earlier it was we had our own. Spring had its own share of problems, but with Spring MVC, Spring 3, they actually merged everything and they made it very nice. Okay. Now, one small point. Now, since we already talked about it, so we talked about the login, right? Now, let me talk about login has only two fields, username and password. Now, let's say for our eShop application, we wanted to talk about adding a customer. You would have done this adding a customer using a plain simple JSP and plain simple servlets, and your own way of implementing MVC. But let's take a look at it and see how it's going to look using Spring MVC. Let me go on to whiteboard and talk about small point here. So this is browser. I'm not talking in between the servlet container, dispatcher servlet, etc., etc. I'm directly going to my web controller. Okay, let's say the customer controller. Okay. I want to add a customer. Obviously, customer has. So in this login controller, we are expecting only username and password from request, right? From the form. From the form, we are only accepting username and password. But let us say in any of the sign up pages, let's say you went to gmail.com and now you are the first timer and you don't have a Gmail account. Oh boy. Can you please, I just muted everybody. Okay. Sorry about that. Now in the customer controller, sorry, I lost my chain of thought. So yeah, in the login controller, you only have username and password that you're expecting from the browser, right? But most of these registration forms that you see online, let's say you go to gmail.com and then first timer, you don't have a Gmail account, so you click on sign up. Then you need to provide your first name, last name, city, state, zip code, phone number, etc. All of those details. And browser submitted the form, dispatcher servlet took it and forwarded it to the customer controller. And you can definitely take customer controller can have this whole HTTP servlet request, and you can say request.get parameter, request.get parameter of request.get parameter. You can take request.get parameter of first name. You can take request.get parameter of last name. You can take request.get parameter of city, state, zip code, all of those details, right? City, state, all of those details, right? And then what do? You have your customer service here sitting here, your customer service. And you have your customer DAO sitting out there. And your essential goal is to store this guy in the database, right? There is a customer table. And I'm sure in your customer DAO, there is a customer object. And in your customer service also, both of them are actually sharing an object called customer.java. Agree? So customer service says that, hey, you may be getting all of these details from HTTP servlet request, but give me an instance of customer. Give me an instance of customer. So what do we do at the time? Customer C equal new customer and C dot set first name. And then we'll say first name. What do we say here? Request dot get parameter of first name. We got this guy. String first name equal to request dot get parameter of first name. We will populate this first name into this guy. We'll populate this last name. So we'll take all the details from HTTP servlet request and populate into customer.java and give that customer.java to my customer service. So I'll populate all of these details taken from HTTP servlet request and I'll give this guy to customer service, and then customer service gives it to DAO. Rather than me doing it, this is the model, right? This is the model, right? This is the actual data. So rather than me doing it, can that model be populated automatically by any framework? Spring MVC can do it. I mean, a lot of MVC frameworks can do it. Struts used to be able to do it. Struts can do it even now. I mean, a lot of frameworks can do it. So Spring also does that. So to reiterate my point, when you submit your form from the browser, your customer controller, you don't have to take HTTP servlet request and say that request.get parameter of first name, request.get parameter of last name, request.get parameter. You don't have to do that. Your Spring MVC can automatically populate into this customer.java. You just use the same fields. As long as you use the same fields and same Java Bean specification, as long as your bean, your customer.java, your model object is following Java Bean specification, meaning your getters and setters are properly defined, it will populate, it will automatically take from HTTP servlet request and instantiate the customer object and call the set first name, set last name, set city, set state, set zip code, and then give you the fully loaded customer object. All you have to do is just, you don't have to construct this guy. It is already giving you, dispatcher servlet is giving that to you, customer controller, and customer controller, all you need to do is just pass it to your customer service and say, can you persist yourself? And then customer service will say that, hey, can you persist yourself? So you just keep doing it. That's it. Spring MVC can do that. For that, in your JSP, you need to use special tag library. There is a tag library called Spring Tag Library. You want to use that Spring Tag Library. Like your JSTL, your Spring also has a tag library. You use the tag library and use those special tags, like your C colon out. This is your tag, right? Or C colon for each. This is your tag, right? Similarly, in your Spring, you have in your in your Spring form. Spring has a couple of tag libraries. One of them is form. So Spring form colon, there is a tag called form. So you use that form, and then there is a tag called input. You use those tags, and Spring MVC's dispatcher servlet will automatically read from HTTP servlet request and populate them into customer.java and give it to you a fully loaded object. Let me show you what I'm talking about here with an example. So this is exact same example I'm taking it. Fair? Let's look at it. So what's the first thing we want to do it here? What is the first thing? If you go to a URL, what's the URL? We'll say, if somebody goes to /customer/add, okay. If somebody goes to /customer/add HTTP get, then we will give them the complete registration form. And once they submit, we will see how all of those fields are extracted out of HTTP servlet request and populated into your customer object. Okay, so as a first step here, I'm going to create a controller called customer controller. Are you guys with me?
Customer sign up controller.
Very cool. So what is the first method? Can anyone tell me? Give me the empty form, right?
Yes.
Give me the empty form. And then what's the URL going to be? What's the URL going to be? And say /customer/add, like that?
Add. Yeah.
Sign up. Yeah.
Yeah, sign up form. Sure. Like that?
Yeah.
Sign up form. Beautiful. And then we'll return a logical name. What is it called? Add customer. Add customer.jsp. It will be forwarded to add customer.jsp. Is that okay? What is the method name here? What HTTP method does it respond to? Anyone?
Get.
You got it. HTTP get. Yep.
Get
Everybody.
because we
Get
have
this time.
Do you have to explicitly say that it's get?
No, you don't have
You
to
don't have
explicitly say.
But you can say it.
Yeah.
You can
But you can,
to make it.
Optional. Optional. It's optional.
It is yeah. By default, it's get. Okay. You don't need to say that. So now, if I go to now /customer/add, to understand the flow, what you do is you just do these minimalistic things, and then try to go there, and then that's how you will understand it, because you don't have the page here, right? So /customer/add. So it is trying to go to add customer.jsp. Let's try to go. Sorry. Add customer. Add customer.jsp. Right? Tell me your form action equal to. Let me do it in a traditional way, and then I'll tell you what I'm talking about. Input type equal to text. We just did this one, right? Name equal to blah. And then let's call this guy, let's take 3 fields. First name,
First name.
First name, last name, city, state, zip code. Let's take 5. And then finally, submit. Input, type equal to submit. This is boring, we know. We did this probably 10 times, maybe more, right? This name equal to first name. This name equal to last name, city, state, zip code, right? Now action equal to the same action, slash customer slash add, right? And then this time, is it going to be get or what? Now method is going to be post. Very good. And then what happens once I click on submit here? Once I click on submit, what happens? It goes to, it looks for a method that matches with it, that matches with this URL with HTTP post, right? So we'll say public string save customer, right? And then at request mapping, value equal to this one, and then method equal to request method dot post. Beautiful. Now, how do I take all of these values? I'm still in the old-fashioned way. So how do I take all of these values in a old-fashioned way? What can I do here?
Request dot get parameter.
But there is no request here. So how do I tell Spring to give me the HTTP servlet request? By accepting.
Define a variable with that.
Nope.
Define a variable request.
No. There is no variable here. Variable can be shown. Instead of request, the variable can be shown.
Yeah.
But
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Your type has to be HTTP servlet request. So expect HTTP servlet request as your type, right?
Correct.
I'm just being very okay. Request dot get parameter.
Specific,
yeah, just trying to be as accurate as possible because I don't want anyone take away with that. Okay, now I'll take first name equal to, right? I know we did this probably 30 times so far.
Yeah, this is like servlet, nothing else.
Oh, yes, exactly. Right. Now you can first name equal to, this is all boring stuff.
It does not give you anything like request and response, right? Like in JSP, we got request and response as default kind of variables.
Right.
You don't get that here.
No, that's the beauty, right? Not giving here is the beauty.
Yeah, I like that better because you have to remember less.
First name. But if you want, absolutely, you can get it, is my point also. City. Okay. State. I wanted to show you quick 5 minutes in a boring way, and then we'll get to exciting way. Right, so good. So finally, you say that you saved it and then return what is that, success.jsp. Sorry, just say success. Okay, that's it. Now let me restart this guy. Okay. Oh, there are no breaks anywhere. So let's add breaks. Okay. Oops. Come on. Too much copy paste. Okay. So first name. Whose name did I not pick yet today? Let's do Dheeraj. Some city. Like that, right? So what happened? Oh, can anyone tell me what happened? Can anyone tell me what happened? Everybody can hear me, right? Hello?
Yeah, I can. I'm just trying to look at it.
Okay, yeah.
You slash add, right?
I'll give time. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
Anyone?
You missed servlet root context.
Root context.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Context is missing. Where is it
Exactly. I was just
missing?
thinking the same.
You're missing it here. Okay. So now, Dheeraj, some city. What happened? Okay, let's look at it. View page source. What kind of slash spring MVC1 slash customer slash add? Yep, that's correct. Slash customer slash add. Okay, slash spring MVC1. Oh, okay. Let's try to go.
It has the context twice.
Slash is missing. That's the problem. Slash spring MVC1 slash customer slash add. It almost always happens with me. Okay. Test first name. Test last name. Some city, some zip code. Okay. So it's pretty simple. First name, last name, city, state, zip code. This is the boring way of doing it, right? Now, exciting way of doing it is that now let's create an object called customer. Okay, obviously, what do I do after getting all of this one? If I have an object called customer, right? And now private string. I'll try to use the same first name, last name, city, state, zip code. I'll use the same guys. Last name, city, state, zip code, right? Now, what's the next step? I need to follow the Java Bean spec, which is I need proper getters and setters. Right? Beautiful. Now, what do I do here? If at all I have a service here, what do I do here? I'll take all of these details and what do I do here? In a boring way, customer C equal to new customer, right? And then tell me set first name, Set last name, C dot set city, right?
State, then zip code.
Agree, right? And then what do we do here? Now we'll say service dot save, and then we'll pass that customer object, right? Agree? Every one of you agree with that, right? This is what we have been doing it for the last probably, I don't know how many weeks.
25 years.
Yeah, no, I'm saying for the last few weeks, right?
Okay, now this one. Okay, that's fine. No problem.
So now, my point is that you don't need to do any of this. You don't need to do any of this. Can you guys
What's that?
mute yourself? I think we're having too much fun. Venkat Krishna. Thank you. Okay, so my point is that you don't have to get it from request, you don't have to construct it, you don't have to populate all of that, and you don't have to depend on HTTP servlet request. It will be magically given to you. It will be magically given to you. Like that. Your customer will be given to you. And all you have to do is just say, get first name. Okay. Customer dot get last name. That's it. If you want to print it, and then if you want to pass it back to someone else, you can absolutely pass it back to your service class. How simple this one is. The fully populated customer object will be given to you. How beautiful that one is. Tell me. It can do much more than that. It will actually validate the entire form and gives you. That's even better. It will do the nice validation, saying that if you didn't enter the first name, if you didn't enter the proper phone number, then it's going to say that, hey, you entered the proper phone number. Zip code has more than 5 digits, then it's going to slap you and say that, nope, this is bad. Enter the proper zip code. You can do all of that validation. We'll do it in the next class. But look at it. This itself, that is the power of framework. Struts can do it, and this guy can do it, but this guy will do much more than that. Power of Spring MVC. So in order to achieve this, what you need to do is that in your JSP page, you need to depend on a special tag library. Okay. So I'll show you the tag library where that one is. Go to Maven dependencies here, and then go to Spring Web MVC and go to meta-nf. Look at here, spring form.tld. This is the one we are going to use it. We are going to use the Spring Framework JSP form tag library. Rather than using a plain simple HTML inputs, we are going to use form stuff. Okay. So for that, what we'll do is we'll do the taglib. You remember how to do that? Anyone? Taglib.
A little bit. You have to do that C thing.
Taglib URI equal to something, and then
equal
to something.
C.
No, prefix C for your JSTL core tag library, but this is a different tag library. So we are going to use a different prefix. This is a new tag library that we have never talked about. Okay, every tag library, what is the most important thing? What is the most important thing for any tag library? Find out your TLD and find out your URI. Every tag library is identified with its URI. But do you have to put the whole URI to use it everywhere? Nope.
No, that's C.
You can
C is the
use your
substitute.
prefix. You can use any prefix. You can use something like, this is a spring form, right? I'll use spring form. SF.
SF, yeah, that's the acronym actually to
This
be
is an
used in
acronym.
the code.
Yes. Everybody understood? And now, instead of a single form, we are going to say that in a SF colon form. So instead of saying a regular form, we're going to SF colon form. And here we are going to say action equal to blah, method equal to blah. In addition to it, we are going to say modal attribute. Look at it. This modal attribute, if you give the modal attribute, what it is name of the modal attribute under which the form object is exposed. So if you give a modal attribute customer, yes, modal attribute as customer. So what happens is that it is going to populate all of these details: first name, last name, city, state, zip code. Okay, it is going to look for a model with this attribute, and it's going to populate all of these details into that object. Okay, it is going to populate all of these details to an object attributed by this name. So do we have any name? Let me to avoid some background noise. I'm just muting. Okay, I'm getting some background noise, so I'm muting. Okay, so all we need to do is a modal attribute. This is what we need to give it. So do we have a modal attribute at this point? No. So what we need to do here is that when user tries to go to this customer / add HTTP get, okay, so what it is going to say, I know it doesn't work because we are half baked there. So what we need to do here is that we are going to send it to the JSP page, right? If you want to send, this is the JSP page, this is the view it is going to, but if you want to attach any modal object to that particular JSP, you can attach it here. Meaning, let's say you want to send an object to the JSP so that JSP will be able to populate. How we used to be able to do that one? If I have a customer object, how we used to be able to pass that from your servlet to the JSP? Anyone? I have a customer object. How can I pass that customer object from my servlet to the JSP? Anyone?
Send redirect or something like that. Hang on a second, let me look up.
No. Anyone?
Request a dispatcher. Request dispatcher and then forward.
Request dispatcher will help you to forward to that, but I have an object that I want to pass it to.
Now in this case,
just create
request dot set attribute. Remember?
Yeah.
Request dot set attribute.
Set attribute, right?
Yes.
Now, the request dot set attribute customer, let's say, okay? Then, and then you forward it to the JSP, and JSP can do a request dot get attribute, right?
Get attributes, yes.
And in fact, all of your JSP tag libraries are going to work like that. Your C colon for each, it's going to look for an object with that name, right? That is the modal attribute. So what I'm doing here is that in addition to sending it to this guy, I'm going to attach a model, an empty model, dummy object to my JSP, so that if there are any values that are pre-populated, that can be shown. So what I'm saying here is that, okay, this is one way of sending it by passing your string, right? But there is one more object called model and view. Okay, let's say model and view. There's one more object called model and view. And then it has two kinds of constructors. One is empty constructor. The other one is, or I can use empty constructor. And then we can set you can model and view. You can give two pieces of information. One is you tell your view name. This is my view name. Oops, sorry. This is my view name. I'm telling my dispatcher servlet, hey, this is my viewer. This is my, what am I doing? I'm not able to copy and paste. Okay, good. So this is my view name, and then you can add a model object to this guy. You can say a model object with the name and a value. So here I'm saying that, oh, okay. So this is the view name, and now I'm going to attach a model object to it. So I'm going to say that, hey, I'm attaching an object with the name customer. Okay, but at this point, I can get an object from database and give it, or I don't have an object. All I want to do is just want to attach an empty object. So you can just say that new customer. Actually, I'm going to tell you how this is going to help you, especially in the case of editing a form. We're going to look at it probably today, if not tomorrow, next class. And now I can give this model and view object as a return type. And now, so in your Spring MVC, all of your methods can have certain return types. One of them is a string. If your method return type is string, your dispatcher servlet is going to understand that what you are giving is a logical view name. You can also give an object of type model and view. If you give model and view, it has two things. One is your view, the other one is your model. Okay, it is going to forward to this view, but before forwarding, it is going to take your object and putting into request scope. How? By calling the request.set attribute customer and new customer. So you're putting an empty object into request scope. This is how you do it. This is how you can give your model object to the dispatcher servlet. And now in your JSP page, all you have to do is just say whatever the name that you have given here, you just give it as, hey, I'm talking about this model attribute here. Okay. And now I'm going to talk about the power of it when we do the real editing. So my action is going to be the same. My action is going to be same, method equal to post, and model attribute is customer. Now I can take this guy out and I don't have to use the form. Now for the input, I will use in Spring form, we have something called SF:input. Okay, and then we need to close it. Oh, sorry, it's not type and text, right? SF colon input has something called, you don't need to say type equal to text because SF colon input is nothing but your text. And then this is called, I believe it's called path. Yes. Your path equal to first name. I'll explain what that one is, and then you'll say instead of input, you just say SF input, SF input, SF input, and then no type, no type, no type. For radio boxes, you have SF colon radio box. For checkboxes, you have SF colon checkbox. For password, SF colon password. All of your input type equal to something, you have options here. And now this is going to be path. This is not name, because you are not using straight HTML now. You're using fancy Spring Forms, Spring TLD, Spring Form Tag Library is what you're using it. That's it. And then for your input type equal to submit, you have something else for this. Oh, you can use input type equal to submit. It's fine. I'm just wondering, there should be an SF form submit. No? No, there is an SF button. You can use it. But input type equal to submit will just work. You know what it does now? At the loading of the form itself, when you initially load, when I try to load initially itself, what it does is it will take an object from the request scope with this name. So under the hood, behind the scenes, what it does is request.get attribute of this name customer. Once you get the object, now it will call the get first name, get last name, get city, get state, get zip code, and it is going to populate as the initial values, or whatever the value that customer object has it, it's going to populate it as the value. And then once you submit it, you change your values and submit it, it is going to now populate all of these values back. Set first name, set last name, set city, set state, set zip code. It's going to populate all of this into customer, and your customer controller will get the fully populated customer object with this simple changes. That is the power of struts can do this one too. Not only this is not any fancy thing that Spring MVC has introduced. This is struts can easily do it. We did it for good decades, so using struts, so nothing fancy here. But first time you're doing it because we didn't talk about struts this time, right? So this is how it works. I'll show you. And what I'm talking about, the pre-population also, I'll explain it. You'll go with clear mind. Okay, now let's try to go to customer/add. Did you see any difference here? Anyone? Did you see any difference between boring way and this way? No difference, right? No difference really. Okay. Now, since Oma quickly said no, I'll use Oma's name. Oma, some last name. Rochester Hills, Michigan, 98765. Okay, and then click on add customer. Oh, look at it. First name is Uma, last name is Ellen, city is Rochester Hills, state equal to Michigan, zip code equal to 98765. From the result perspective, any difference between boring way and exciting way? Nope. Once you click on submit, but we need to understand what exactly is happening here. It is going to create an instance of customer and call the set first name, set last name, set city, set state, set zip code, and is going to give you this fully populated customer object here. But before that, At the time of initial, at this point itself, there is a lot going on. We need to understand that. At this point itself, I understand from the end user perspective, there is no difference between boring way and this way. But the beauty is that what we are doing here is that we are creating an empty customer object and giving it to the dispatcher servlet as a model, saying that, hey, I'm giving you model. Can you populate it? Sure. You know what dispatcher servlet does? It will do request dot set attribute customer and whatever the object that it has gotten. And then in the JSP, just by saying model attribute equal to customer, you know what it does? Now it will call request dot get attribute with that model attribute name, whatever this one is. This is customer, right? So request dot get attribute of customer, and it's making it available in the page. So when it calls the get first name, it's going to call the get first name and populate if there is any first name in the customer object. So what I'm saying is that, let me introduce a new requirement here. I don't like this boring form. Okay, when I submit this form, when I give this form to user for the first time, I want to say I want to pre-populate with something. Let's say please enter first name or something like that. How about that? Is it good? Let me pre-populate with something. You know how simple that one is? I'll show you. This is what is happening. Customers equal to new customer, or okay, customer dot set first name. First time I'm saying that please enter first name. Okay, I think you got the concept. Please enter last name. I'm putting this customer object into this guy and giving it to this form. I'm giving it to the dispatcher servlet, and dispatcher servlet is going to give it to forward it to the add customer.jsp. But before that, it's going to give it to the JSP. It's going to put it in the request scope essentially and forward it to the JSP, and JSP is going to do the request.get attribute of customer. And now here it's going to call the get first name and get last name. You have to see the magic here. Look at it. So we are pre-populating the form. If you want to pre-populate your form, you can do it here. But you don't have to. This is not, I'm not saying this is usual way, but you can definitely return an empty customer like how we did. This is very normal way of doing it in the real world. Okay? But I want you to understand what's going on. It is actually putting the whole customer object into request scope with this name. That is what dispatcher servlet is doing when you give this model to dispatcher servlet. And in the JSP, it is going to take an object with the name customer from the request scope because you are saying there is a model with this attribute. And then for that particular model, all of this form, the entire form is going to be bound with that model. Meaning, whatever you put it in the form, it's going to call the setter, or initially when you paint it, it's going to call the get first name, get last name, get city, get states, get zip code. And once you change them and submit it, it's again calling the setter methods to change that customer object, and then it's going to give you the fully loaded customer object. That's the beauty. So how many of you are walking out with a lot of confusion? Any confusion here? Anything? Or is it too much?
No. No confusion. Only thing is I have to practice it once on my own.
I can't
Yeah.
agree with you more on that. So absolutely,
Yeah,
it needs to be practiced. No doubt. First
yeah,
time, it's but the real model and view, first time playing with that. I can't belittle the scope of it. It's just you need to play with it. And now we can introduce it. The beauty is that, especially with this one, right? If you're editing the form, right? If you click on a customer, right? If you're click on a customer, you are loading the existing customer from the database, right? And you load it really and give that customer, put it here. Beautiful. The same ad page, you can use it for edit also. Because it is going to pre-populate automatically using the power of your tag libraries. SF colon input here, it's going to call the get first name, get last name, and it's populating. So under the hood, what it is doing is your input under the hood, you have this input type equal to something, right? Name equal to first name, sorry. Name equal to first name. And then it's going to put value equal to whatever the value that it got by calling the get first name. If it is please enter first name, then that is what it is put. Understand? It's using this one. In HTML, there is a value. That is when it will there is a value here. Got it? See here? Value equal blank, value equal blank. By default, value equal blank. But if you put it here, then this is what is going to be shown. That is what it is dynamically getting it by calling the get first name, get last name, get city from the model object that you have put it in the request scope. All fit is happening just by saying, hey, dispatcher server, this is my model. Can you please put it in the request scope? You're not dealing with any request scope. You're not doing request.set attribute, all of that. You're just using this object, saying that, hey, can you please put this object? Sure. Make sense, everybody? Well,
yeah, I'm just a little bit confused.
It definitely requires. It definitely requires at least couple of times of maybe once watching and then doing at least couple of examples. I want you to do this like how we did customer. Can you please do product with this? You don't have to call the service or anything. You don't have to call the service because we did that hundreds of times. Your controller does not have to call service. All of that we mastered it already. So you don't worry about it. Only this portion I want you to practice more. Okay.
Venkat, quick question.
Sure.
See, the thing that you taught us today, that corresponds to Spring MVC 3. Oh, you don't remember that, right?
Sorry.
See, like what you taught today. If I compare, see, I'm basically comparing. I'm comparing in terms of the videos that are there in the current batch. So that should be comparable with Spring MVC 3.
Probably, I don't know.
Okay. You don't remember, okay?
Probably MVC 2. Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
It's in MVC2. It's in MVC2. There is a validation or something.
VC2. Okay. Got it. Thanks very much.
Yeah. That's the next topic, right? So that's the only thing left from Spring MVC perspective, but we'll have to do more exercises. That's important.
Okay. I've got another question before it goes to somebody else. That is, could you show us how to hook images to application? Is it time for that right now?
No.
Next day?
We'll do it. That's one of those utility things. That's fancy things. So definitely we can do it.
Okay, because those are things that may ask in the interview. Not
That's
now, not
nowhere
today.
related to the direct, concept, Showan. But we will definitely do it as part of,
Okay.
eShop. We'll definitely do that.
Yeah,
Okay, now somebody else, you can go and ask questions.
my Spring
Yeah.
MVC is not working. Something wrong there.
Sorry, what is not working?
Spring MVC, the last stuff, it is not working. Something.
I have a question. So while creating this project, which one would you select? It's not dynamic web project. Is it a Maven or?
Oh, this one?
Uh-huh.
Yes. So file, new project. That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a very good question. In fact.
Okay, Maven project. And here, when you click on next, right, arch type, do a web project. Maven arch type web app. Click on next.
Web
and
app,
then
right?
give some name.
Arch type.
Okay. The arch type is important. That's
Arch type,
web app.
what did you give? Web app, right?
Yeah.
So there is no need to change a version and all there. Just leave it as such.
Let's see. See here, Maven arch type web app. This is what you need to select. You mean here this version?
One.
You mean this one?
That you
This
can give
version, Uma?
anything.
One second.
Yeah.
Uma, is it the version you're talking about? You don't need to change it. Don't worry.
Okay.
You don't need to change
I
it.
did one.
Yeah,
I did one.
it doesn't matter.
1.2.
That's a different topic called Maven releases. Okay, Maven releasing is a entirely different beast, different concept, and it's not for you guys. Don't worry.
Okay.
It's get a lot of experience before we talk about Maven releasing. Okay, so don't worry.
Okay. After it circulates back, at the end, I'll ask you a Maven question, very utility type question.
Sure.
Can you see what is the problem in my project?
1 second.
Yeah. 1 second. Let's go one at a time. So now you copy your pom.xml. Okay, whatever you have it, you copy it from here. Do not spend a minute on here. Okay. So copy paste all of this. But what you have to do is, once you copy it, you have to change your group ID, com.training and eShop3, right? So change it to Uma. That's what we gave it here. And then after you do this one, what you do, right click, Maven, update project. Where is this? Update project, and then click OK. And that is when it actually loads all the Maven dependencies. They already loaded. And now go to Maven web app and see why it's giving the okay, it's okay.
And there is a Spring config
Yeah.
XML also, so we will change the name.
1 second, one at a time. Let's take, okay. Now what we need to do is that right click, project, Java build path, and then see here 2 build paths missing. You provide source main Java. If it's missing, take out this guy, remove it, and then click OK. And the immediate one is, where do you have to put your Java? Where do you have to put your Java files? Source main Java, right?
Right.
Right click, build path, and then new source folder, and then source main Java, like that. And this is where you want to create your Java classes. Okay, create a new package, etc. Okay, and now let's go to again build path, configure build path. Now let's go to libraries. Here you have a JRE library, you have Maven dependency, but you don't have server runtime. So put a server runtime here, and you just provide this finish. And now everything should work. Now, one last time, making sure, go to something called deployment assembly here, and then make sure if everything matches here. Source main web app, whatever you put it in source main web app goes to /yes. Source main resources goes to web-inf classes. Source main Java goes here. All of this looking fantastic. Yep. So now right click,
Venkat, what did you do with that Tomcat? What did you do?
Oh, sure.
Something to do with server you did?
Right click,
Build
properties,
Right click,
go to build path,
property.
and then
Oh,
go to
build
libraries here.
that I
It
always
was
do.
not there, it's removed. Now add library here, and then server runtime. Because wherever you are running here, it will show. And then what you are saying essentially is that, hey, I'm using Tomcat. Please load all the jar files that Tomcat gives to me. That's what you're saying. That's it. I think it should be good. Right click, run on server. I think it should work. Restart server. If
This is for Spring, Maven,
everything. Yep.
This thing.
Yep.
Tomcat.
Yeah, you got it. And now let's go to Uma and see what happens. Okay, it didn't work. So let's try going to modules and see if it's, oh, my path is /eshop3, not Uma. Okay. So you get it? You know why path is eshop3? Probably in the POM XML there is something called final name. That is why. Okay, but you can go change in your Tomcat too. See here, just say edit and then change the /Uma. If all of this is very hard and time consuming, if you think I'm spending a lot of time configuring it rather than really working on it, don't do it. In that case, what I'll tell you is that this guy here, Spring MVC 1 Feb 2015, as is, copy this guy. Okay, I did right click copy and then right click paste here, and then you just say and then now you got a project called Spring MVC 1 underscore Uma, and you got the base set up here, and now you go work on this one. You spend a lot of time on your actual code, because that is what you will be doing from day one. All of this would have been set up by a guy like me. Your lead, your architect, or somebody would have already set up. It's very unlikely that you will be asked to set this up. Are you getting it? Your lead would spend a lot of time, probably hours, if not days, initially set up everything, and then you're going to check it in. So don't spend time on that. Understand the core concepts. Because how many, knowing about this under the hood deployment assembly, not many people know. You take a guy with 10 years of experience. I'm seriously saying. So don't spend time on that, and don't challenge yourself. So you can take a easy route there, but don't take easy route on the actual concept itself. This is what is required for your interview. This is what you are required to do on day one. How many times, how many projects you will get that you will walk into the project and you will have to start playing with the POM XML? Slim, probably zero. Most likely zero, unless you have a lot of enthusiasm. And if you have zeal, that's a different story. Yes, I want you to learn that way. That's why I always talk about the fundamentals. But don't beat yourself to death like that, focusing on 100 things. Focusing on one at a time. Come back, watch my Maven videos. They are like, they can teach your lead too. I'm not bragging myself, but I'm just saying. So it's so.
I agree with you. The Maven videos are
those are that detail.
Yeah.
So, but don't kill yourself right now. Focus on the main concepts. Okay, guys?
Yes.
Uma,
one question that is...
Uma,
okay.
1 second.
Okay.
I'm especially talking about you. So I don't want you to spend, coming from an entirely different background. You have probably 100 things to learn. Don't get overwhelmed. Focus on the concept. Don't focus on Maven. Don't focus on projects. If somebody sets up the project, you're okay. Don't think that, don't let that really, don't make that let you down. Okay, focus on the actual meat, which is Spring MVC, servlets, JSP. Yes. If you don't know, if when there is a problem, immediately it has to occur to you that I have to go to WebXML. That's the starting point for any web application. So those are the things we need to concentrate on. So I'm just setting your priority. That's all. I'm telling you all of this based on my experience.
Sure. Yeah.
If you'll be shocked if I say something, how long ago I learned about this deployment assembly and how Eclipse treats under the hood. It's not too long ago. Probably after I spent good 12 to 13 years in my career. Probably you'll make fun of me, but that's the fact. Okay? No, I'm just saying. So don't kill yourself with all of these basic things. Okay? So focus on the content and don't focus on the tools, and slowly, and you have to be an extremely good learner. So even after you get the job, constantly learn, constantly. You have to be an eternal learner to be really expert. Okay, Sean now. Sorry for.
Actually,
and then
now
Madhavi.
I think it's Antenna's turn.
Oh, Antenna. Go ahead.
No questions at this point. let me watch the video.
I have.
Did I confuse you enough that you forgot what you wanted to ask?
No, my question was about the new model. So I was thinking that everything was, a bean. So the model created new customers. So that was just, I was wondering on that.
Okay.
So, is it a good idea to instantiate the customer model with new model view?
Yes. In the case of,
I have that question too.
1 second. Sorry. Yep. I can answer that for both of you guys. Yes. In the case of brand new customer like this, it makes 1000% sense to create an empty customer object and put it to the model. But in case of editing a customer, when you have all the customer list, when you click on a customer to edit, right? So you already you want to change the customer city. How do you do that? You need the existing city. You want to populate the existing city. You want to populate the existing first name. You want to populate the existing last name. You want to populate the existing state and zip code, right? Guys, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Right? At that time, you will load the customer object from backend, from DAO, and put it into model so that it will be pre-populated. Is everyone understanding? If not, that's what I'm talking about in the next class. So don't worry. I'm going to talk about the edit screen in the next one.
Okay, I think Antenna was asking something else.
Okay.
I think what he was asking was whether to put the new in the code, new customer in the code or in the config.xml.
No, I think that's not his point. You cannot instantiate object in config, Sean. That question is wrong.
Okay.
I mean, if that's your intention, then.
Okay.
My intention is that the new word, here.
Yes.
We have new model view. That's.
This is perfect for the ad.
No,
if you're doing an edit customer, Edit customer
The,
also you are forwarding to the same JSP, but with the pre-populated customer. Have you guys seen edit? I don't know how many of you are understanding what an edit form is.
Modify form.
Right. I mean, we have some experience in the.
Yeah, it's already there.
Right. So if you go to gmail.com, okay, you want to change your changing the password is a bad example. You want to change your address. It will pre-populate it, right? Yes, update. When you want to update it, when you want to edit it, right? Updating the data. So at that time, you'll be pre-populating the existing data into the text fields here. Are you getting it? At that time, you will get the existing data from the database and pre-populate it. And I can assure you this, okay? This is not end of the world. In the next class, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to implement this in a real eShop, okay? What we will do is, we will do the real customer and save it in the database. And number two, when somebody clicks on an existing customer, we will pre-populate the data for them to edit this information. So we will do that one. Okay, guys?
That sounds okay.
Yep, we'll do that. Definitely. Don't worry. But to answer your question in 1 second, yes, this makes perfect sense in the case of new.
All right. That's good.
Next.
Can I share my screen?
Yeah, absolutely, Madhavi.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So it's not working.
You're getting a 404. Everyone,
Yes.
look at it. So what does it mean? You're getting a 404.
It's not finding it.
Yeah, I
The
saw
context or
everywhere,
something.
but I couldn't find any error. I don't know.
Okay.
Context you're giving? Spring MVC 16.
Can you give me the keyboard and mouse?
Yeah, I gave you.
Oh, you gave
I
me
already
already?
gave. Yes.
Oh, I have. Okay. Let
Spring
me,
MVC
before
16.
I jump on it, and let me make sure that it's really let me make sure that your stuff is really deployed.
Yeah, I saw everywhere.
Okay, Spring MVC 16. Hey, what is this? What is this? Huh?
The folder.
What is that?
Oh, okay. I see what she did.
Web app, web INF. You have all of this nicely. Can anyone tell me what's missing here?
I think in slash or something.
Source main web app, you should have slash. Okay, that's correct. Source main Java is good. Source main resources is good. Source main web app is good. Maven dependencies. Oh, that's everything looking good actually. I mean, no glaring things. But how come? Let's do a simple clean and see if it fixes. Okay. Let me delete this guy. Okay, now some error. It's saying illegal argument exception. Oh, so your server didn't stop.
Hello.
The main resource blah.
What's that
Okay.
wrong?
See that it's not valid, the main resource set. So let me do this guy. Hey, did we look at the problems view? Oh, the target runtime VMware vFabric is not defined. So
2.9.
first of all, let me close this guy. I only want to see one at a time. I never want to see. So right click. So clearly in this kind of problems, that nothing will happen. You know that, right, Madhavi?
Yeah.
So now go to Java build path, go to libraries, pivotal TC server, no, deployment, right? So let's go to facets.
Did you check the runtime?
See, it's 2.9.
Runtime, and then this guy is what you needed, and you got that 2.9 from me. You copied that, right, Madhavi?
Not everything.
Okay, let's do a clean.
She copied only the project, and that's why it happened. I think.
Nope. So it's still hanging there. So
let's remove them.
A Spring project or Maven project?
I think yes, Venkatya, that is in a Spring MVC form. It's not in MVC.
There is a Maven. It's Maven definitely, Uma, because you see there's a small M over there.
Yeah, but while creating the project, it asks for.
So it is saying that 2.9. We don't have 2.9 really, but oh.
No, yes.
Is it one second? Yeah, one second. Oh, it's related to that one. I'm sorry. Huh. I selected. Now let's run on server. It should work. Yeah, remove all except the existing one. The server pivot is missing. Okay, so then what do you have? What kind of server do you have here? Pivotal. Let me remove this guy.
Stop.
I'm stopping.
Yeah, now remove. Actually, stopping matters. I've seen that before. But what the hell is this? It's not even removing.
It's not even removing it, huh?
Exit and come out once.
I'm going to delete it. Is that okay? I'm just deleting the server. That's all. Okay, you have 3.0. Makes sense. Create an instance. Sure.
Actually, we cannot hear Madhavi.
Using the base instance, we'll say Madhavi is not there or something. Port the JMX TC server, blah. Okay. So let's look at the port. So I think 9090 is what we need to use. So you do it 10 times, what happens, So this is the best way to learn for everybody. So don't get scared to do any of this kind of stuff. So that doesn't give you anything. So local has been, yes.
You know what I do? I do only once and keep a note of that.
No, I'll do it every day. I never keep note of anything. I mean, especially in this case, mainly I can learn, right? I just make mistake again. So it's mainly that's the best way to learn. Okay, it's good. Yep, beautiful. Now let's deploy this guy. Sometimes you may ask, hey, what are you proving? Well, I'm not proving anything. It's That's what it is. Right? So what did I prove here? Okay, slash hello, right?
Yes.
Very good.
Something else.
Got it, right? So
Unable to compile class JSP. That's fine. That's different.
yeah,
That means JSP has error.
absolutely.
How come if JSP? Oh, runtime error. Okay.
So IO exception TMP file.
Oh,
Hello, I'm saying hello. Oh, yep. It went all the way to the JSP page. So
So now it's Madhavi can do it for the rest of it.
absolutely.
Madhavi, we cannot hear you.
Maybe she
lost.
1 second. Oh, she's doing though. She's not letting me control it. So okay, maybe I think she's all set. So that's it.
Okay, one question that is, see, from Maven, since I'm basically yanking a lot of things, everybody's yanking. Now, if I want to remove something from Maven, that means eventually from the M2 repository, what's the good way of doing it? The old stuff that I don't need.
I typically just remove everything and then run your project, so it will refetch everything. I'm saying, this is what I'm saying.
Okay.
I'll just delete this guy.
Oh, that guy, delete them?
Yeah.
Really? I feel
what happens in the worst case, right? Yeah. Nothing will happen.
Worst case, a lot of time is wasted. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, you want me to delete it and show you? I can.
No, not on my system.
I'm just saying. No, I'm in my system, so no big deal. I deleted it hundreds of times.
Okay,
So don't worry.
Let's see.
Yeah. What's the big deal? Oh.
See, I keep my system as a laboratory actually. And then after I've finished my compilation of notes, and
so
they're
what
all
we'll do
in my
is
memory.
I'm stopping the server.
Okay.
1 second. I'm just closing my Eclipse. So what's the big deal? Take out everything. I don't have anything. My Maven repository is empty. So what does it take to bring it to the original state? Nothing. It's a couple of minutes of my network and few megs of bandwidth. So we are working on what project today? MVC1 Feb 21. This guy, right? So let me close everything. Obviously, all of this, I'll get errors. So let me close everything and then go here, right click, Maven, update project. That's it. Look at it. It brought everything back that's required.
So update project.
Right?
Okay.
No big deal. No big deal. My project is fully up to date within minutes. I mean, it's still doing it. So.
No, sometimes I've seen that the softwares formally released
softwares
have bugs in them.
In 30 seconds, we are fully up, Sean. This is fully workable. You get it? So never.
Okay, no problem. That's fine.
Okay.
I'm fine. Yeah. Okay.
Anyone? Okay, guys. Hey, small request. I think Sunday I'm not going to take class, so I need to do it on Saturday. Is that okay?
All right. At what time?
10 o'clock. 10 to 12, 2 hours class. Okay. Sunday I'm not going to be in town, so.
Okay, no problem. That's fine.
That's it.
No problem.
Thank you, Venkat.
No problem.
I think it's EST, right, Venkat?
What is that? Yeah, EST. 10 o'clock EST. I'll shoot an email also. But, okay.
Oh, thank you, Venkat.
Yep. Good night. Good night, everybody.
Thanks. Yeah, good night.
Good night, everybody. Bye now.